Hello, my name is Katie Morris, and this is the final for Songbird Mansion. In this milestone, I basically started texturing things. The reason why it's blend over here is because I wanted the main point, the main focus of the mansion. The nicest part of the mansion is the ballroom, which is literally a bowl in a room. And I'll show you the textures really quick. It's a very nice marble. Also, there's a maze in which the player has to go through it with the AI waypoints and everything interfering in between. And they have to make it out to this area, and it'll say victory. We also will possess our AI over here to make him get this puzzle piece, which I'm going to quickly move so you can't see it as easily. We'll put it in the white. It blends in, and it's hard to, for players to find. And that's why they have to do this little puzzle to set off this light over here. And then they'll unlock the door for the player can come in here and run through. And then I added a new secret room. There was one up here. And I put another one down here, and I basically copied over the camera and the camera little port security camera and the area you can possess the player. Also put the physics on this again, and I hope you enjoy. I'm going to now play through a game. So now you see there's the title says Escape Songbird Mansion, or I mean the title, the objective. When you go to this AI, he'll hear you and see you. So if I jump, he sees me. Of course, we still have our camera zoom in, and then you can still press Z, and it'll drop the traps that will eventually kill the AI off. And then we'll go up the stairs, and we still have that flickering light that plays. And then there's another AI in here, he doesn't see us. And then when we go in here, we'll press the panel and unlock the door. And then when we go up to the door, it should say unlocked. Or it plays that animation, I mean. So you can see there's one white little brick. If I go right here, oh there it is. It was a little late. Then you see all the bricks fall when you enter this trigger zone that's right here. I'm gonna show you again the room. So there's that thing. I say it goes bright. There's still the elevator that comes down. Oops. If the player misses it, they can go into this room where the camera does still shift when you press E, and then we'll just possess the character since the other room was basically the same as last milestone, and it still looks the same. So when I press E, we possess this character, and they have to solve the puzzle. As you can see, it's a little hard to find that cone. It's not easy to see right off the bat. So we're just gonna do the little puzzle right here. So I gotta get this block into a certain piece, which is right here, and then I'll get this block into the other part. As you see, it's green until it falls out of the trigger zone. It's still green, okay. And then we're gonna put this in the last area, which is right over here. And then if you look up, there's a green light, and there's our cone, which we can unlock the door with, and it'll say door unlocked. And then we'll run over here and unlock the door for the player. Then we'll unpossess our character by pressing E. And then we go back to this character. We can go up the door again. Go downstairs. Then we'll go through our maze. It also has dead ends. You'll see one in a minute. I'll show you. We have an AI right there that can't hear us. The reason why they're white is because I kind of didn't want them blending in with the ballroom assets. There's a dead end right here. You're gonna have to go out, go around, and then it says you have escaped. And that is it of our Songbird Mansion. I hope you enjoyed. Now with the programming, I didn't really add much to it, but I will submit all the programming I've done. What I'm going to do, I'm going to take from the previous videos that I did during our milestones and put them in to explain each of the coding. And since I didn't code anything new, I just altered everything to copy it and duplicate it. But I hope you enjoyed this gameplay, and thank you for watching. Hello, my name is Katie Morse, and this is my game level for game scripting, which is Songbird Mansion. This is what I have so far. So what I have on the bottom floor, I have 3 text boxes, and the first one like tells the player, hey, you need to unlock this door, which I will build upon for the next milestone, which is basically going to be my ballroom area, which is very haunted looking. And then I have a trigger box in which you have to find a panel and put an input, or you have to find a key specifically. So when you go up the stairs, these 3 doors, they'll play a matinee where it'll shoot to the wall. I have a bookshelf. I'm not bookshelf. A book on a table that will actually like shake when the player steps in that trigger. I have a control panel, which basically when I go up to it, it'll tell the player, hey, you need to press this to unlock the door below stairs. And then also I have a hidden key right here. So now I will play the game really quick. So of course you have your unlock the door. And then when I go up to a trigger box, I'll get the welcome to Songbird Mansion. So I'll go upstairs. When I reach the top, there should be another text which tells the player find the key or the panel. When I go to the first room, the door slams into the wall, and if I approach this table, the book will start playing an matinee, trying to make it appear a little spooky. If I go to this door, it'll completely disappear. If I go to the control panel, it'll tell me to press E. And if I press E, the door downstairs is unlocked. So if I go up to the door, hit the trigger, it'll unlock the door and I can continue on. I'll then show you the second part, which is gathering a key. It'll say, welcome to Songbird Mansion. Again, I can run up all the way to the top. It tells you the exact same thing. Find the key or unlock the door. And then if you go up to the key, it says on the left that the door is unlocked. And then when you run downstairs and go to the door, it unlocks the door. And you can continue on level. I will now go into the blueprints of each. So with all my mayonnaise, I basically did the exact same script over and over again. Let me see if I can get one of these. Let me try one of these on top. Well, actually, no. Let me open the door. Oops. Actually. So this is what I have so far with my scripting on actor and overlap, and it closes the door. And it's a matinee to open the door. I also have this is a regular open the door. When the character goes over it, it'll branch off. If you go up to it, it will say locked. It'll print that screen. But if it's unlocked, then it will play the matinee and open the door. This is a variable saying that when it's locked, this is connects to true, and when it's true, it plays the string. This is my text. So if I edit the blueprint, so so when it begins, it has a text renderer, actor to change, a target, which is the player, tutorial text, text to screen, and then it has a set text. And it has basically the exact same thing. So when the player leaves the trigger, it says you could say an exit text. And then basically all three of these are the exact same instead of the ones on top. But the matinee, like I said, but the matinee is basically the exact same thing. With this string, I said, "Who are you?" With my other two doors, I just said, "Beware." It says the exact matinee I want it to be, and no play it if it's false. If that spooky does not go to the string, it's true. With a panel, so this is the input, which is E, and it goes to the set variable that when it's locked, this is the door to unlock, which is the target. Then you have your text renderer act and your target to add text. Unlock text. It lets you know that the door is unlocked, and then it has a set text to tell the player. And then when I go to my key, is when the player overlaps, the key will destroy and it will unlock the door. So the key is kind of in the player's position, but it's not. So when an event actor begins overlap, it'll have a set. If the door is to unlock it, the door to unlock is the target of this, and then it'll print a string when you collect that collectible. It'll say door unlocked, and then it'll destroy the actor. And that is it for Songbird Mansion. This is the blueprints for Songbird Mansion. So to start off, we're doing the camera change trigger, which is when event begins. So when the level begins, and when the player leaves, it will disable the input, so you can't press E. When the player does go into the collision box and presses E, it will switch between cameras. So this is assembling the E button input. So when an E is pressed, it will go through each camera and show it on the screen. This is the security screen. So at the beginning of the tick, it will show a camera in order between 0 and 2 and default. So for camera 1, it sets the default material. Same with the other ones. They're all different materials on them. And then when it goes default, this will show the default camera material. This is the possessed and unpossessed players. So at the beginning of play, it will disable input. So when you start the level, you can't just press E and try to go into the body of the unpossessed character. Also, when you're not in the trigger box for the character, it will not let you possess it by just simply pressing E. This begins overlap, so when you go in the box and you press E, it will enable the input. It will let you press E to get it, and then it gets the player controller that you're possessing. So this sets up the E and the possessing. So when E is pressed, it unpossesses the current player, which it gets by target, and then it will possess the character that you want to possess, which is the pawn that's set as pawn, and then it will disable the input after you possess that character. So you can press E again until you get into the trigger box. This is the door. So at the start of the level or when begin play, it will be set to closed or the 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 position of the new rotation and the target. So at the beginning of when you step inside the box, it will play the time nod, or I mean timeline nod. And then when you're outside of it or step out of it, it will reverse the little shut where I have it coded. So on update, it will set the relative rotation by making a rotor. It will use the rotation percentage as the alpha, but it will have a closed rotation and open rotation that is used through lerp to return the value to the rotor, which is the Z position. Now we are on our elevator. So when the level is played, the elevator will start on top and it will be there. It will just start at top until you go inside the box, then it will start playing. So it'll do a do-in, and also it gets the player pawn, whichever one you use. And then when the player leaves the elevator, it will go in reverse, demonstrated by the timeline node. Sorry. On update, it will set the relative location of it. So it'll set the location of the elevator, and it will either start the elevator or it'll end the elevator and multiply to get to B, and then it'll return the volume to the new location, and then the elevator height is alpha in our case. Lastly, we have the light switch. So when the player enters the overlap, it will branch off. It'll also show the other actor, which is if you possess them. So the condition is if it is true, it will do a flip-flop, in which it will either set the intensity to nothing, so there's no new intensity, it's just a regular light, or it will set the intensity to a very high number, which is also the point light component we were using. And that is it of this milestone. I hope you enjoyed. Welcome back. This is now the programming part of Songbird Mansion. So we're going to start off with the easiest thing, which was the checkpoint. So whenever the actor overlaps the checkpoint, it will cast to third person. So it will cast to the character, and then it will set it as a spawn point. So like when the character dies, it will respawn right at that place. And then we're going to talk about our AI target, which is where if you press the E key, all the AI will flood into that one area. So now I'll go into description about it. So at the beginning of the level, it will branch out. If it is true, then it will disable input. So at the beginning level, you don't want to just press the E key and have all the actors running. You want to like wait, and then event actor begin and overlap. So when the actor leaves the trigger box area, you don't want the player to be able to press E and have all the player flood like on begin play. So this gets the player pawn. So this gets the character and makes sure that if they're not in if they're not in the box, or if it's the beginning of the level, they're not able to press a key button to get them to run. This is if the player overlaps, then it will enable it. So after the level has begun, so after it loaded up, and if the player goes into that trigger box, it will read it and it will allow the player to press the E key. And this is a branch that says if it is true, then it will let it. If it's false, then it won't. And the condition is it has to get the player pawn and the player controller so it can use input. And then this is our E key. So whenever you go in the box and you press the E key, it will get the location of the character and the target location. So it gets all the actors for the class, which is all the AI. And then for each loop, so it will set the target location and the target, and then it'll project point navigation. So depending on where you click it, all the actors will go to that point based on the navigation data that's provided to the characters, and they will get this actor location from the player pawn. Now we're going to talk about our spikes. So for every second that a character is on the spikes, it will cause damage to the list of characters. So the list of AI, if I put it on there, it's an array, and it will do damage over time, which is damage per second, and then it will apply damage to the actor, and then to the AI, and then self, and then you can be the damage causer. And then lower this really quick. So when the character overlaps, it's gonna add it to a unique list. So it's gonna cast the player into a list, and then when the character stops overlapping, then it's gonna remove the damage, or it's gonna stop doing damage. So anytime the AI goes over it, and the minute they step off the spikes, they're no longer being damaged. And when they are stepping on it, they're being damaged. Now we're going to talk about our AI guard character, which I'm going to be using as kind of like a ghost that's friendly. Like, he doesn't really harm player, he's just there to kind of like confuse the player. So at the beginning of play, the guard will, or the ghost, will find a location based on the waypoints. It will get the actor's location, and then it will project a point to navigation. So it'll go to that navigation, go to that point based on the nav data. And we're using spears, like earlier we see in the gameplay. So on every tick, it's going to move to a certain location. It's using the AI controller, and its destination is the target location. This switches the path. If it fails or is at a waypoint, it will delay, and then it will just repeat itself. And then the waypoints keep adding up and can be edited in the editor, so we can add waypoints. And if it's true, then it will set its so if the waypoint has not been touched yet, then it will set it as the next target location based on the data that the character has received. And then if it's false, it will set the current waypoint to 0. So once you go all through all the waypoints and there's no more waypoints, the guard will go back to the original one. And then when it is true, it will set the waypoints based on the array, and it'll get the actor's location. And then now we have our AI character, which is our enemy. So every time we take damage, it'll minus our current health, and if our health equals 0, then the actor will be destroyed. So when this AI character goes over the spikes, and once his health is basically drained, so prevent any damage, once it's drained, it will destroy it. It will completely vanish from the level for right now. And then beginning of the level, the AI will get a target location, so it has a radius, and it will go to that location based on the settings we set in the viewport. So it'll get the location, and it will go towards it. On every frame, the AI will follow a path. When it meets its goal or fails, it will delay for 3 seconds, so it will stop and think. And when completed, it will go to the next location based on location of nav data and wander radius. So basically, the AI will go to a target. It will switch between which ones, if it's failed or met the goal. It will delay by 3 seconds. Then it will go to a new set of a target location. It'll get random reachable point radius, so whatever is in its radius. It will get the target location, wander radius, and then the navigation data that's obtained. And then lastly, or no, never mind, not lastly. So this is the sight of the AI. So when the AI sees the player, it will run towards the player location and then follow them fully until they're spotted. So basically, the AI hears them, or no, sees them. It will run towards the main character, and it will keep following you until you can lose them. So, so when this AI sees the character, it will get the character's location, and then go to their point based on their nav data. Then character movement. If they hear the character moving, then they will go to the set, and which will go to target location. Also, it's walking speed. So if so depending on how loud you are, in the next session I'll show, it will move faster or move slower. If so, and it will be able to investigate as well. So this is when it hears, like I mentioned earlier, when AI hears noise, it will investigate and walk towards the area that they heard the noise based on the actor's location and nav data. So this senses the main player, and then it'll, depending on like what you do, is the volume. This is a branch. If it's true, then it'll set it. It'll set the walking speed to 100, so it's very slow, kind of investigating. We don't want the AI to just rush towards you. And then this is the target location that's set. based on the project point navigation. So when the enemy hears you, it goes to your point, depending on where you're at, and then it also gets the actor navigation, and then it uses nav data to get it as well. And then lastly, we have our main character. So let's see, where am I going to start? I guess we'll start with this. So we have a little code in here. So if you press the P button on your keyboard, it will destroy the actor and then make them respawn since we have our checkpoint. So once you kind of kill your character, it will go back to the checkpoint. So if you're getting followed by AI and you want the easy way out, just press the P button and it'll do it. And then next thing we're going to talk about, let's see. I think. Oh, this is respawn. This is how we set it up. So at the beginning of play, it will spawn the character to its point, and then bind its event on destroyed. So if it's destroyed, it'll go to that point. It will respawn, and then it will get the spawn point, and then it will get the play controller, and then possess the character. Oh, and then also, this is to drop spikes. So the spikes in the level, they deal damage to your AI. But the player has a tool they can use if they press the Z button while they're being chased. They can drop spikes that can eventually kill the AI enemy. So it gets the nav data, the project points to navigation, it gets the active location, and then it spawns the spike zone depending on where that character's at, or depending on where the main character's at. And that is, wait, oh, and then we have our jump. So the actor's already able to jump, but this jumps makes it so that the AI can hear you. So every time you jump, when jump button is pressed, it will make a noise based on the jump value, and then when you stop jumping, it'll stop the noise. Also, when you move, it'll do that as well. Let's see, yeah, there it is. So this is movement. So yeah, see, when you move, it will make noise based on the walk volume of your character. And I think that is. Oh wait, what's this one? I think that is it of our level. I hope you enjoyed it, and this is for Milestone 4.